we're not done. Next page.
Yeah, we're not done. Okay, let's talk about some roster moves.
Let's talk about the Chargers. Chargers, of course, released Joey Bosa. He's a great player, not a Hall of Famer, not a $36 million a year guy. He's gone. Then they released Gus Edwards, one of their heavy-duty running backs, and now they just lost their starting defensive tackle because the Rams just jumped in and signed Poona Ford. The big wide-body defensive tackle played pretty well for the Chargers. I don't know if they were asleep at the switch, whether they thought they had time to get him signed. The Rams just got Poona Ford. That's a big blow. And by the way, early on the weekend, the Rams signed Davante Adams, who said he wanted to play West Coast. They jumped in, and they would not let him off the Zoom call till he committed. Signed him to a 3-year contract. He reportedly was preparing to go meet the 49ers. He never got to San Francisco. Now, San Francisco did get somebody. They're talking to Joey Bosa. We're led to believe the negotiations are continuing. Bosa was in the Bay Area meeting with San Francisco yesterday. So that deal may come to fruition. In Buffalo, phenomenal acquisition. The Bills wind up making the deal to Josh Allen, restructure the contract. He is now the highest paid NFL player in terms of guaranteed money. He winds up getting 6 years, $330 million for Josh Allen. $250 million of that is guaranteed. To make room on a salary cap, the Bills said goodbye to probably future Hall of Fame linebacker Von Miller. And Buffalo is just really active in terms of free agency. Cleveland, going to hell. This is amazing. They restructured down Deshaun Watson's contract. Deshaun Watson next year, because of the 3 restructures he's now done in Cleveland, his cap figure is going to be $92 million.
Oh, my God.
How can you operate a franchise with all these smart people in the front office and keep restructuring? First of all, how could you pay him the amount of money you paid him, then have to restructure to get yourself out of trouble, knowing there's $92 million at the end you're going to take a hit on?
I don't understand how that math works.
I don't either. And these are supposedly smart people. And then you recall 2 weeks ago, Myles Garrett said, I want to trade. I don't want to be part of rebuilding anymore. You know, he was tired of being 0-16 one year, 4-13 another. I want out. Then they came back to him and said, we asked you to restructure, give us cap space. He said no. Then on Sunday, they put more money on the table. I hate everything about Cleveland. I'll sign that contract. Myles Garrett signs his contract to stay with the Cleveland Browns after all the negative things he said. A 4-year extension at $40 million per once the last 2 years of the contract are up. Just absolutely stunning. I guess money can buy you anything in life. Houston Texans, really active. They make a trade. This guy's a good player. Got to keep him on the field. They go get another wide receiver. Christian Kirk is a blazer. Now, he, had started in Arizona, did well, but got hurt. Went to Jacksonville, did well in spurts with Trevor Lawrence, got hurt again. He just got traded from Jacksonville to the Houston Texans. So Houston's got 4 receivers now, but they've all had injury issues. I tend to think that's a pretty good acquisition for the Houston Texans. Add into that, new leader in New England, Mike Vrabel. I knew they were going to spend their money, and they spent their money quick. On the first day of free agency, New England has signed Milton Williams, the bright young defensive tackle of the Philadelphia Eagles. They signed Raiders starting inside linebacker Robert Spillane. They just signed Carlton Davis, the Pro Bowl cornerback who played in Tampa Bay and played in Detroit. And they signed Morgan Moses, beast of a tackle with the New York Jets. All those guys are grinders. That's Mike Vrabel's brand of football. So what a fascinating first group of hours. Free agent window open at 9 a.m. All these commitments made in the first 3 hours of free agency. And like I said, when Matthew Stafford committed to the Rams to stay, that started the dominoes falling at quarterback. So, John, go ahead. Talk about one of those teams, all those teams.
Grinders, it's just fantastic. Okay. I remember the Patriots, they were having problems on their offensive line. Because I remember they were hesitant to start Drake May because they thought he was going to get hurt. And he did play well in spite of a kind of a leaky line.
Exactly. And that line finally got healthy at the end of the season. They have a lot of skilled people, but I guess the favorite phrases I'd use with Vrabel are grit and grime. That's what these players are all about. It's just this a grit to the way these guys so he's changed the culture of New England. He spent a bunch of Bob Kraft's money in the first 3 hours of NFL free agency.
I like it when a team takes on the persona and the personality, of the head coach. Let's talk about Davante Adams. I mean, how old is he and how much gas does he have left in the tank?
32 years of age. Guy's got 690 receptions. No tail off in terms of productivity, even though he was in a bad situation with the Raiders and then wound up going to the New York Jets in probably a worse situation. Still really productive. He's not had an injury history, and he's coming home. He's from Fresno. So I think it's a great acquisition. Getting Davante Adams gives Matthew Stafford another weapon. So you got Davante and his big size on one side, and you got Puka Nacua on the other, and they got Tyler Higbee to throw balls to. I mean, this is hugely important for Matthew Stafford. Then, of course, they went out and they stole the Chargers' top defensive tackle in Poona Ford.
Wow. I mean, and that's a lot of receivers for Stafford to throw to. Yeah. I mean, suddenly he's looking in a good spot. But I didn't know Davante Adams was from Fresno. Is he did he go to Fresno State?
Yes, he was there with Derek Carr.
Oh,
and that's how I wound up with the Raiders. When Carr went to the Raiders, Davante said, I want out of Green Bay. And he wanted the Raiders. And, of course, then the Raiders got rid of Derek Carr. And then it was quarterback du jour, and that was a disaster.
Yeah, but, I'm just thinking, Central Valley, Fresno, Josh Allen. He's from that area.
Yep.
He's from Firebaugh. And, and just to think he only had one Division I scholarship offer at Wyoming, and now look where he is.
Yeah. Unbelievable contract, $330 million. Not bad for a Wyoming Cowboy.
Yeah, exactly. A guy that no one else really wanted in college football.
But it's opportunity. We all come from somewhere. He came from there. Look what he's developed into. It's cool. And Davante Adams, I think, is a really good receiver. A lot of these receivers in the league, we call them divas. They got personalities and they got agendas. Well, he's a bit of a diva, but he's a really good football player. I think a great short 2-year acquisition for the Rams. The Rams organization is doing a hell of a job in player personnel.
Yeah, but they wanted a scrambling quarterback, and they re-signed Matthew Stafford. So is this like a period of transition for the Rams until they get to that quarterback?
Stafford can still play. Is he a bridge quarterback going forward? Yeah, he's 37 years of age. But now the Rams could sit there and look at that draft board and say, I like the athleticism and the intelligence of this guy. We'll draft this guy, and he'll be our developmental quarterback for 2 years from now or 3 years from now when Matthew Stafford steps away.
Jackson Dart, is that a name maybe, like a developmental guy?
Maybe, although he might go earlier than anybody expects. But yeah, the kid from Syracuse, Kyle McCord, is a gun, but he's undersized. He does move the pocket. We'll see on draft day once we get into April. I bet the Rams find an athlete that they say, we kind of like this, and we got 2 years to grow this thing and develop this thing with maybe this kid quarterback. So
good.
But what they hear and now, what they're doing from a player standpoint, very, very impressive. You're into the NFL. Feel free to jump on board. Want to hear what you've got to say, whether it's the Chargers, the Raiders, the Rams, whatever NFL team. Fans forum chat box is open. Couple of